Hi, I'm Mike from Ontario Speed 8 and finally been back up after a week of hiatus back in early May because of the famous cPanel attack that has destroyed a lot of websites. I don't know if mine was affected, don't know to what extent or what, but I got cut on May the 3rd when my provider has said, oh, this attack has been going on and we pulled the plug for your safety. Well, digital safety. Anyway, so this cPanel attack was crazy because it allowed a hacker, he can just log into any part of any website that had cPanel on it without any username or password. He just fudged up my URL and it gave him full access. If you don't know what cPanel is, it's a web administration interface that allows people who make websites to change their stuff on the fly without having to know any technical knowledge. Well, very little technical knowledge. Okay, it's like a friendly way of doing things, but with this cPanel hack going on, makes me wonder, especially when you have to pay a license for it. But since then, I took my site off of that server, moved it on to a new server, and now I manage the whole server. But then again, I have to pay a price for renting it. It is sad that I gotta keep putting out all this money even though I haven't been able to run events, which leads me on to the next thing I want to talk about, and which is something everybody needs to listen to, because everybody is just so obsessed with the famous platform, yeah, you guessed it, all you event lovers, Eventbrite. That's the thing that has been a trouble for eons. And I think I mentioned before, Eventbrite, the trouble with Eventbrite for organizers, especially in this affordability crisis that everybody's having, is that if you're organizing an event through Eventbrite and you want to include something in your event from the profits you make from the tickets, well, you can't. Because what Eventbrite does is they're going to hang on to all your money until several days after the event ends, and then that's when they'll pay you. That's if they pay you. And I'll get to that in a moment. But that's one thing. Another thing with Eventbrite, they just let scammers make events, and the people they don't like making events, they'll just ditch them, which is sad. It's like they let the AI do everything for them and the AI screws up. And how do I know that Eventbrite's that terrible? Well, as I said before, go look at Trustpilot, go look at Google Maps, go look at Better Business Bureau, put a search in for Eventbrite. You will see tons and tons and tons of bad reviews, including people complaining about not getting refunds and such. So why am I talking so much about Eventbrite in this video? Well, because I have found something absolutely serious with Eventbrite. And I found it because when I merged my website onto a new box that I completely manage, I decided, okay, I am doing a scan from top all the way down to the very bottom. I went through the website hostedscan.com. Anybody could do it. They just go to hostedscan.com. They just put in a website they want to check. Then they will have to put in an email address to get the results, and then they get the results. Yes, it's a 14-day free trial, but hey, it helps. So, I did my website. I thought, oh, okay, all the websites, sure, they got issues here and there and all that, but with the results, if it's orange or yellow, let it go, because some of those results, they just might, like if you use their recommendations, they might not exactly help you. But if you get the results that are in the red zone or even in the purple zone, and I'm talking about the critical or the severe results, or even high priority, which is what they call it. You get results in that, you need to do something with that box if you administer that box. But if you're just testing somebody else's website, it doesn't really matter. But if it's your own website, it's a concern. So I did the whole thing with Eventbrite. Did a whole test through Eventbrite. Well, not through Eventbrite, but through this hosted scan. Put in Eventbrite. And Lord and behold, what do I see? After every test, which took about a good 5-6 hours in total to do all the tests, what do I see? I go and see a huge issue. Eventbrite has not updated a component on their website. A third-party component, let me tell you. And why is this so important? Because I did further analysis of the component. And guess what? People can screw the website over with that component. Okay, so sure, maybe it's not as ridiculous as cPanel, but maybe a hacker could screw it over like they could with cPanel. But one of the things I did notice with this particular component is if hackers screw around with it, they say that they can do something so serious that it could just literally hog the CPU of the server, which means that it will cause things to slow down. So that probably explains why Eventbrite has been running slowly for a countless number of people when they try to go into certain parts of Eventbrite. Like even when you even go to begin a payment from when you're going to get a ticket, it's like you gotta wait, 30-40 seconds instead of 1 second for the form to come up. So that's probably why that's happening, because of this major flaw. And this flaw I'm talking about is within the next.js framework. Okay? There's probably more that a hacker can do than what's documented. But everybody, you need to take this as a sign that you need to start going elsewhere for your event needs. Because let me tell you the warnings right now. Warning number 1, continuous number of complaints pouring on Trustpilot, with one occasionally here and there on Better Business Bureau, and a couple here and there on Google. But Trustpilot mainly. That's warning number 1, that you need to take your business elsewhere. Warning number 2, they are infatuated with AI. In other words, they don't really want to help you. They just want to put robots that do all the questions, well, not the questions, but the answers to the questions for you. They just want the robots to do it. And what's even crazier about their AI chat, you have to have an account in order for a robot to answer you. If you don't have an account, they don't want to help you. This is how ridiculous it is. And even if you make an account, they would ditch it for any reason, like I told you before, if they feel like it. Or even if a hacker feels like it, I should say, because of this vulnerability, it's a possibility that the hacker can get into their main systems and say, okay, all your accounts are deleted. We won't tell you why. Oh, it's happened to me before with my accounts on Eventbrite. When I sign up with Eventbrite, I've had it numerous times when my accounts get deleted. I never got an email explaining why. So it made me think that a hacker went right into their system and started deleting random accounts. Ever thought of that? And if that doesn't get you thinking about changing to some other provider, I'm going to tell you one more thing. What would you do if a hacker managed to screw around with your finances? Well, before I get there, I'm going to tell you with my website and such, no financial information was leaked. Not at all. Because the financial information itself was stored on another server that's secure, that has not been hacked. Okay? So, if anybody has any questions to me about if their card is safe with my service, yes it is. Okay? But back to this Eventbrite. So, warning number 3. Okay, so I said the 2 warnings. So the first warning I said to you was the bad reviews. Warning number 2, AI. Warning number 3, how about the slowness? There you go. The slowness, probably because the hack is in action from that next.js framework. I think. I don't know. Like, these hackers could try anything at any time, and nobody would even know when it happens, if it happens, or anything. But yeah, sign number 3, slowness. If it takes you a century to make a damn purchase, regardless of if a site's hacked or not, why would you even continue to use that site? What, because your friends said so? Why do you follow the herd? You're a human being, you got some intelligence. Why should you go with the slow team? Come on. And if all those 3 warnings don't make you think twice, then what would you do if your financial information got screwed over in the process, huh? Because when I looked at Eventbrite's information, the public one, you know, their terms and conditions and such, it says that they run their own payment processor. And what happens if everybody or the majority of people were on Eventbrite's own payment processor, and people were buying tickets left and right through Eventbrite, which I think they do because they never look at people's own websites. So if all these people bought tickets from Eventbrite, right? And then Eventbrite gets hacked, and then the hacker goes in and downloads all the credit card information from every person because they got full-blown root access to Eventbrite's servers, and then those hackers sell the credit card information and such over on the dark web to other would-be hackers, and then those hackers use it to screw you around by placing random orders for some God knows what with your credit card number because hackers have hacked it through Eventbrite. Imagine what would happen there if hackers managed to do all that. At best, I'll say the best case scenario is you'll get piles of warnings from your bank, in which case you'd have to phone them numerous of times to cancel several, God knows how many transactions. I don't know how many. Maybe it's just 1, maybe it's 1,000,000, who knows. That'd be the best case. The worst case, you'd be having extreme amounts of debt rolling up, debt after debt after debt after debt, just because all these random transactions have been being posted onto your account. Post, debt. Next thing you know, you go beyond your credit limit, and then you have to pay the over limit fee. It'd be terrifying. And it gets 20 times worse if you use some other electronic card. I'm talking like Visa debit, MasterCard debit, you know, those bank cards that you can use as a normal bank card in store and as a online credit card, even though it's not actually a credit card, if you know what I mean. But if you use those on Eventbrite, your protection has gone down 20-fold. Because if you use those and a hacker gets in and screws around with the Eventbrite system, and your organizer's using the Eventbrite processor to collect payments, oh, you may be screwed even all the more. Because your account balance may drain all the way to 0 or maybe even into the negative, and you might have to pay a non-service fee or NSF. You know, it's one of those fees that happen when you put something through your bank and you don't have enough in your balance to cover it, and then it's equivalent to a check bouncing. Okay, so it's an NSF fee. Forgot the whole name of it. But the point I'm trying to make is, people, you need to pay attention. Or at the very least, straighten out the people at Eventbrite. Because they're the ones that are supposed to be responsible for making sure everything's functioning perfectly. And they're not even caring. I mean, the way they're doing things, like if you look back at December, that's when they started falling off of the stock market. Because back then, they were a little more successful than they are now. Because all I've been hearing is like, oh, layoffs in the recent months. People, well, it's not just Eventbrite. I know other places have been doing layoffs, but Eventbrite's been affected too. Eventbrite's been laying off I would say all the good people, I'm assuming. They leave the people with probably not much knowledge on board, then spoons, and a talent company takes over all the failing companies like Eventbrite. I think they've taken over Meetup and probably a host of other companies to try to revive them, but I don't think they're doing a good job, because it's like everything's being handed over from one person to the next, to the next, to the next, and then when things get to be a problem, then it's like all the new people have to figure out, okay, so how do I get to this? How do I get to that? I didn't create it. How do I get to that? Like, come on. It lies on the responsibility of Eventbrite to fix up their system. But as for you, the consumer, you have the choice. If you keep ordering from Eventbrite in the state it's in, you could be screwed over. How many more entries do I need to see on Trustpilot regarding Eventbrite before people start to wake up and smell the coffee? I don't know the answer, and I probably will never know, because I'm really reeling here, trying to run some events, trying to make it where I run events, give people free stuff in the events, not have to worry about anything. But with everybody's addiction to Eventbrite and telephones and phones, smartphones I should say, people are living a tough life right now. So yeah, you better pay attention to that. So what I'm not gonna say, what I'm going to do, which is what I'm going to be putting a link down in the description section of my video for hosted scan, because I really want everybody to see what I'm talking about. If you think I'm making this stuff up, I really want you guys to go try it yourself. Hostedscan.com, and then on there you type in eventbrite.ca. It might even work with eventbrite.com too. It's probably a whole chain reaction. But you type in eventbrite.ca, click the button. They're going to ask you to put in an email address to get the results. You put in whatever email address you can receive emails from. I probably would not recommend a temporary email address, because if you're doing a full-blown scan like I did, it might take several hours, and I don't know if a temporary email would let you have an account long enough to get the emails. But if you want to try temporary email, be my guest, but can't really support you on that. Anyways, I hope you learned a valuable lesson from this video, and if you took this video as if it's one big fat joke, don't come crying to me if you become bankrupt in the near future. That's all I have for today. Bye bye.